Oh yeah.
because it gives the people other people to go investigate.
Yeah.
Like when people ask me about studying the Vadum, I say, look, the best online tutor for the culture that carry the swag and the energy of Big Mama teaching her babies is Louisa Taish,
Mm. Mm.
right? She is the real fucking deal.
I gotta check out. I gotta check out.
Matter of fact, when I was trying to get this Haitian conjure closed out, I was able to use a reference from her on about Haiti and the Lush energy that was rolled over the island.
Mm.
Because once she explained it, now I know what need to be done to correct the problem, right?
Mm.
So in come barbecue. Remember, we come in teams.
Mm.
Son of Desalines,
Mm.
Rashad Jamal, Toussaint Return,
Mm.
right? Arisha Stone, the bookman. The crazy part about it is verifying these people. Arisha Stone in his youth got tattooed up with all of these verses and stuff all over his body,
Mm.
right?
Mm. Mm.
Never knowing that this was what the bookman's name was referenced to,
Mm.
because some kind of way he had something burned on him. So it's like the carryover of the energy made what happened to the bookman manifest as tattoos on Arisha Stone,
Ooh.
right? Then the sisters, it was three sisters. It was more than three sisters, but it was the main three sisters, right? Today, the head priestess is Return, is Rising Phoenix, that was in Tallahassee with us, right?
Mm.
Because all of the descendants of the people, the beef is inherited.
Mm.
We have to close out all of the parts of the beef that's actually open conjure root work being done on the people without their knowledge,
Mm.
right? So all of this stuff going on, remember, metaphysically, we reading the energy.
Right.
The
Right.
science is not old new, it's old as hell. It's old ancient Atlantean science, right? So we applying the steps. I'm steady knocking for Big Mama. I'm telling everybody where she at in the Carolinas. How do I know? Because the energy signature said all of the tribes was all hands on deck in Florida, but the call didn't come from Florida. It came from the Gullah Geechee Island clan called, they had Big Mama there. That's where she was held at to keep the enemy from capturing her. And
Mm.
she called all tribes on deck. We can see the movement when we trace the migration of our people, of how they switched us out and everything, but we have to know how to turn these stories into a physics formula, and the math will correct the errors for you to see it correctly,
Mm. Mm.
right? This is why you apply metaphysics to law,
Mm.
because once you do that, now you can see everything that's being done and how your people supposed to move versus how the enemy told us to move, and the difference in the two being moving at the same time.
Indeed.
So it's like identifying your dog and a pack of other dogs,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And
Mm.
if you know where all your dogs at in that big ass pack, all you got to do is whistle at the right time, and they'll lead the pack, and y'all can go about your business,
Right. Right.
right?
Yeah, indeed.
And this is synonymous with what they call in the brotherhood sending up the call.
Mm.
What's the call? Fiat Lux. What's Fiat Lux? It's let there be light. What light? The great Nuir, right? The luminescence of the mind, the
Mm.
Promethean flame, right? So when we reuse the metaphysics, to cancel out the negative energies and leave the direct line and the direct path to the recovery. And we seeing that they have mirrors set up. So go imagine a carnival, funny mirrors, right? All of them not sending off the same reflection of the same person. And this is where the humor's at. Right? So they have these mirrors set up. And so in shattering their mirror, it breaks the cohesion of their false whole. So Tupac break the mirror and say, how do you want it? Right? You can't have it both ways. You either want it to be done correctly or you want to leave it in chaos.
Indeed.
Because if you do it wrong, you're going to cause catastrophe. Right? And all of that symbolism, the brothers speak it in the open in front of the regular people because we imbeciles in law. So when they discussing our affairs in our presence and we not included in the discussion, that's because it's assumed that we deaf mutes. Right? Why would they assume we deaf mutes as imbeciles in law? Right? Because you've been crucified. You shouldn't be able to hear and say anything about what I'm doing to you because you're a straw man. Right? We found you hanging in the cornfield. What's the cornfield? The carbon. The carbon of the corn is the exact same carbon of the people from the land. We don't need to genetically trace DNA codons. We just compare the carbon to the corn. If we compare the carbon to the corn, it's superior to their DNA test because it's only one group of people that have the same carbon signature as the corn. And those are the people who invented the corn. Because remember, corn used to be a wheat.
Yeah.
See? So when you know your culture, and they call the different strains of corn Indian corn. Right? But it's indigo corn because some of them was able to. Now imagine eating a colorful corn or cob under the Lilith moon. This is how the corn becomes sacred to the people.
Right.
Because they was able to leave an indelible enough impression to transfer psychic energy from one of us to another one of us. And this will send out a signature. This is what the corn festivals are about.
Right.
Now the paleface carrying on the corn festival because we working in the factories and we don't have time to carry on the corn festival. We running around playing cops and robbers and putting out fires as firemen and panhandling on the street. We don't have time for a corn festival. But the corn festival is a sacred festival to activate the same frequency of the people that's tied to the carbon in the corn.
Indeed.
Right?
Indeed.
And what they call them? Children of the corn.
Children of the corn. All right.
And who was the leader of the children of the corn?
Who?
Malachi.
Ooh.
They telling us the whole time. So the hierarchy of the chiefs is not determined by blood alone. It's also determined by works and deeds. In the work that you do and the number of people that you wake up, that awakening of them, they energize you to even go further. So now you become contagious and you move up in rank because the energy you projecting is allowed to correct the misguided in a larger number than anybody else. So the enemy got to take you out the way and falsely accuse you of things and use people close to you to undermine your works. But all the time, it's too late because the next wave has come. And that's when we was talking about all of the different people out now.
Different people, yeah.
You know, Brother Kalai, one of my favorites.
Shout out to that.
But he's passionate. and make it look like to the people that don't understand why he's so passionate that he has a anger issue or that he is prejudiced.
Mm-hmm.
But he only care about his people, and he not looking back to see if you're gonna be there because your color. But because he focused on the sun blood science, a lot of people will take that to mean because he's talking about how it's going to affect the heavier melanated versus the less heavier melanated, as if we don't know it's going to be a different effect in the two. Because it's already been a different effect in how the sun affects the two. So why would it not be a difference?
Indeed.
As these ultraviolet rays increase, it's going to be a difference, but you got a remedy for every problem.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Worst case scenario, if the sun get too bad, you give them silver till they turn blue. Because that's what's going to happen. And now in that, going back to that original shade of blue, they can use the sunlight like chlorophyll. The same as the plants.
Wow.
This is your Smurfs.
Woo. Woo.
These was the red-haired, freckle-faced people from the Appalachian Mountains that's been there for a couple thousand years at our invitation.
Man, wow.
That was part of the training of the Orisha priesthood that became the Irish priesthood that became the founders of Ireland and Scotland, which was named after Scott and Scotia.
Right.
Well, Ireland was actually named Orisha. It was reigned at by Twilight priests, pygmies, leprechauns, who was given the goal to protect for the daughters, Scott and Scotia, by the Queen of Heaven and Earth. The outlaw bikers, the nomads, was once given the charter under Big Mama as horsemen. Right? And it is a nomadic force that she can call at a moment's notice to anywhere she is to give aid and support to protect the matriarch. It's the MC13 classification. It's the master charter of the Queen Mother. 13 is the Queen Mother seal. Right? Because they rescued Scott and Scotia from the Catholic Church when they was on a murderous rampage talking about they exiling all of the snakes from Ireland. And the snake was the symbol for the priesthood because the women wore the armband with the snake around it and the men wore the headband with the cobra on it to symbolize the rising of the wisdom.
Right.
Right? Which traces back to the 7-head cobra of India, right? Which is also talking about the 7 chakras being manifest simultaneously and active. The energy is the wisdom energy of the Nagas. The Nagas energy awakens the higher consciousness using your reptilian brain or your limbic system, right? Because your consciousness first goes through your reptilian brain before it ever get to your mammal brain and then your new mammal brain. Right? So you got a new mammal brain that no other mammal have. That means that out of all of the mammals, you the newest mammal in structure.
Structure, yeah. Yeah.
Because now you had an extra layer of brain added on to your mammalian brain.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And where is that story from? It's the Cro-Magnon man, the unusually intelligent caveman that popped up out of nowhere simultaneously with the Neanderthal and the Homo erectus. It was like a gaping gap.
Damn.
Like they just popped up out of nowhere.
At the same
right?
time.
But it's the same story.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of that, Rod, my last question for today. I'm not gonna be able to get to no more questions, but I gotta ask this last question. In terms of pre-Adamite cultures, what was Antarctica's role in terms of these the two-part question, in terms of these this civilization? And I guess my question after that would be, was Africa considered the motherland in pre-Adamite times, or was this a term introduced to us during the last 6,000 year period? So it's a two-part question, right? Antarctica and Africa. I'm asking about Antarctica and Africa.
Antarctica is a flash froze city from Atlantis.
Damn, flash froze. Shit.
Because look, a sizable portion of Tiamat is called the astral belt now. Asteroid belt. The great ring, the barrier of no pass, right? And this was when Tiamat was 2/3 its size, bigger. So it was more like 76,000 miles circumference back then. This is why I keep telling people the people of Earth are in before the Earth in, because the Earth done been through some stuff that you would almost fathom to believe that it could be possible. But the sizable portion of the Earth remains is floating around as the asteroid belt. And this is recorded in the ancient temple priest record. So when the collision take place, the part of the planet that's Antarctica gets pushed through the atmosphere into space, where the temperature is flash freezing everything and is creating what you call ice wall or a giant ice shelf. And this is like a splash that got frozen in real time. It'll give you a better understanding. When they talk about the structure of Antarctica, it's described in the Book of Enoch, right? And it's called Tartarus. And it was the land of giants. But they wasn't giants necessarily physically, but they was giants in a field of study. Like Dr. Ben is a giant. Dr. Clark is a giant. Elijah Muhammad is a giant. So when the giants are stomping, you feel the effects reverberate and the echo carries the information into the future in order to correctly translate the information. And the other part of the question was about what, Brother Rich?
Africa.
Oh, being the motherland?
Yeah, was it known as the motherland in pre-Adamite times, or is this
That's look, calling Africa the motherland is some black nationalist recovery information to bring us out of the slumber on both sides of the water. People think that because I say we not from Africa, I got a problem with Africa and Africans, but that's not the case. I'm telling everybody that just like we rising up and we went over them brothers, you got guys like Ibrahim, right, and Julius down in South America. Julius, I forgot his name, Malumbe. But you got them all over Africa. You see, they just formed that coup in the Republic of the Congo. The coup, they call American soldiers participating in a coup with 50 clowns, because there had to be some clowns to think that at this time it would be a good idea to try to overthrow one of those kings over there when they doing the exact same thing we doing to recover what's ours over here. So I just tell the people that's African, hey, the Africans is claiming they shit back over there. We claiming our shit back over here. Why don't y'all go assist them in claiming they shit back and you won't be begging for reparations, because it's not going to happen. Because once you get your shit back, the people who had your shit can't pay you reparations unless they get it out of your coffers.
What you mean unless they get it out of your coffers? What's that? What do you mean?
They owe us everything because everything was already ours. They hijacked what was ours and used it against us.
Okay.
They took all of the stuff that was taught to them and used it against us, and we forgot we taught it to them.
All right, I got one more question, Rod. I know that was supposed to be the last one, but I forgot. You said, you know, I always do this.
I'm with you, brother Rich. We just chopping it up. You help. Look at your hat. You help, we help.